Good evening, councillors and members. Has somebody got... Good evening, members. Welcome to the Development Committee. There are no fire drills planned for this evening. In the event of the fire alarm sounding, please leave the building via the nearest exit and make your way to the assembly point located in the Market car park adjacent to the Civic Suite building. Members, can you not hear me? Please note the meeting will be live streamed where the proceedings are capable of repeated viewing. I would like to make members aware that while the presentation by officers is being shown, this will be the image that will be seen by the public on the live stream. Can you all hear me? Thank you. Please ensure your microphone is switched on when speaking and you speak clearly into the microphone. If you are seated in the public area of the chamber, it is likely that your image will be captured by the recording cameras and result in your image becoming part of the broadcast. If members are for any reason not present for the whole debate on an item, you should consider and seek advice as necessary on whether it would be appropriate for you to vote on that item. Item 1, apologies for absence and substitute. Members' apologies received from Councillor Constable. Councillor Steptoe is substituting. Apologies from Councillor Myers and apologies from Councillor Squires-Coleman. None members attending, Councillor Marriott. Item 3, minutes of the meeting held on the 26th of September 2024. Are the minutes agreed, members? Those minutes are agreed. Item 4, to receive declarations of interest. Are there any declarations of interest? Councillor Steptoe.
Thank you, Chairman. First of all, just apologies for sitting up the back here, but as you can probably hear, I'm suffering with a rotten cold, so I'm staying away from everybody. I'm not being rude. Please forgive me. Decorations are a member of Essex County Council and also Ward Councillor for the application number 6.
Councillor Mrs. Shaw.
You can call me Louise Shaw. That's not, as long as we know which Councillor Shaw you need to speak to. Yep. I'm also an Essex County Councillor, so a declaration of non-pecuniary interest. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Eaves.
Rather obviously, I have a pecuniary interest in item 7. So for that item, I shall be leaving the room. Thank you.
Any other declarations? Item 5, referred from the weekly list. There is one item referred from the weekly list. Land adjacent 5/1/24/00272, full land adjacent to 9 College Gardens, Rochford. This item has been deferred to a future committee.
Do you know when that's likely to be?
We're hoping November.
Thank you. I'll let the resident know they were asking.
Thank you. Item 6, 24/00485/OBL, site of the college, Roachway, Rochford. Mike Stranks will present the report.
Thank you, Chairman. This is a brief matter. To be clear, this is not an application before you to determine. You're not being asked to grant or refuse planning permission.
Sorry, Mr. Stranks. Thank you, Councillor Shaw.
Chairman, what you see in the wider background. Oh, great, the laser doesn't work on the screen. If I describe it, and Elise helps us with the cursor, what you see on the wider site is a number of dwellings, and you also see the care home on the Roachway site, which is yet to be built. Okay, what's of interest is the lower car parking area, some 50 spaces, and a shaded area that you'll see that is for changing rooms. Okay, now when the planning permission was considered for the 14 houses which have been built and the care home that is yet to be built, there was a need to provide, for the developer to provide car parking in the changing rooms to serve the open space that is occasionally used as playing fields. That in itself was development requiring planning permission, and there was a planning permission granted, I think, in 2017. The report gives you the details of that. What has happened is that that permission for the car park has lapsed, but members have since renewed it in August under a new planning permission. Now that's given us a technical problem in that the legal agreement for the development yet to be fully built out only refers to the planning permission that has lapsed. So what we're asking for you is to give officers the scope to redo the legal agreement to incorporate the new permission for the car park. That's the only decision we can make tonight. The planning merits about the housing scheme and the car park have all been previously dealt with. If you were choosing not to do that, what would happen is the developer wouldn't have a permission that he can implement. So the car park would be unlikely to happen. So we need members' blessing, if you like, to incorporate the new permission, which is set out in the report, into the existing agreement. That's the recommendation, Chairman.
Thank you, Mike. Ward members are Councillor Marriott, Steptoe and Williams. Would any ward members like to speak as a ward member? Any visiting members wish to speak? Could I ask the committee members if they would wish to speak? Councillor Steptoe.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. I just wanted to clarify, at the moment, where the development is due to go for the assisted living area, that is currently be used as a car park. Will that be continuing? What is the situation with that?
Mr. Stranks.
Chairman, I don't have the precise details of that, but I would imagine until such time as they go to start work on the phase 2, as I think they call it, the care home, then the existing situation prevails. But what they've probably been waiting on at the moment is this decision tonight to then get all the ducks in line, as we might say. So for now, the spare land that was the former car park anyway would continue in that use. But this is about when they crack on with the care home development, where would that displaced car parking go?
Councillor Steptoe.
Yeah, just to clarify, that the shaded area that we're talking about here this evening will have to be in place before they start?
I believe that's the case. I didn't pen the legal agreement, but yes, I think that's part of the reason why it was written in and cascades to that.
Yeah, because that's my concern. If you take away the existing parking, but there's no other facilities, that area, the play area, the football pitches are very active, and of course that will have a direct effect on quite a narrow, limited parking in the road outside. So I'm hoping that you'll tell me that as part of the condition that will have to be in place, so we don't have that problem going forward.
Thank you, Councillor Steptoe. One moment, please, members. Thank you, Tom. If you could come in, please.
Yeah, I can just to assist. I've got the original agreement in front of me. So the clause that talks about what you're talking about says not to commence phase 2 until such time as the adjoining development has been completed and is available and ready for use. So that is the car park. So then they weren't allowed to commence until they put the car park in. And so the purpose of this application is adjoining development was defined as one particular planning application. That's now lapsed. It's now a different planning application. So the whole purpose of this is exactly what you're talking about, to ensure that feet can still be held to the fire and that they can't start commencing until the car park's been put in. So that's the purpose of it.
So just to clarify, that will be carried forward into the new documentation.
If this application is approved, yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Councillor Steptoe. Members will proceed to move a motion from the chair. It's proposed that the committee resolves to enter into a deed of variance pursuant to S106A of the Town and Country Planning Act 1990, varying the agreement dated 14th of March 2018 in relation to Castle Point and Rochford Adult Community College, Roachway, Rochford, to incorporate application reference 2400237 full. Could I have a seconder, please? Thank you, Councillor Wilson. Councillor Stuart Wilson. We'll proceed to the vote on this on a show of hands. All those for? That's unanimous. Thank you, members. Item 7, 22-00633, full 19 Hawkwell Chase, Hawkwell. Before we proceed with the lease, thank you, Councillor Reeves. Elise Davis will present the report.
Thank you, Chairman. The application is a household application which would normally be delegated. This is before the Development Committee in the interests of transparency, as the applicant is a district councillor. The application site is located to a corner plot fronting Hawkwell Chase with side adjacent Hillside Avenue, and the application is for a single-storey rear extension and attached garage within the rear garden. You'll note in section 3.3 of the officer report, no representation was received by the Parish Council. The addendum circulated to members updates this with the Parish Council's representation, which is no objection. Relevant planning history to this application is that a single-storey rear extension of the same scale and design to that currently proposed was taken before the Development Committee in December 2019 and was approved. However, the consent for this rear extension has since lapsed. If I take you to the elevation plans, the rear extension proposed is of flat roof form, would project 4.5 metres beyond the rear wall of the dwelling and would span the full width of the dwelling across the rear. Openings proposed are only to the rear wall of the extension. Taking you to an image of the street scene, this is taken from the side of the site on Hillside Avenue. You'll note that the dwelling is on a corner plot and therefore the extension will be visible, but only above the existing boundary fence. Turning to the garage plans, the proposal also seeks permission for a detached garage to the rear of the site, which would have a pitched roof form to a ridge height of 4.5 metres and would measure 4.9 metres in width by 6.9 metres in length. The garage is sited approximately a metre away from the site boundaries. Again, turning to the image from the street scene, you'll note that the proposal does not require new access to the garage, as there's an existing crossover, and the garage will again be visible to the street scene, but only above boundary fence height. The proposed extension and garage are considered to be of acceptable design and scale in accordance with local design guidance. They're also considered acceptable with regards to their impact on neighbouring occupiers, and no neighbour representations or objections have been received. With regards to trees and ecology, the application is exempt from biodiversity net gain requirements. 2 domestic trees within the application site are indicated to be removed. This is considered within section 2.17 of the officer report. The trees are not of significance and are not subject to tree preservation orders, and the council's arboricultural officer consulted on the application does not object to the loss of trees. The recommendation is one of approval.
Thank you, Elise. We have no public speakers for this application. Any ward members wishing to speak? Gooding, Booth or Councillor Ian Wilson? Nope. Any visiting members wish to speak? Nope. Any committee members wishing to speak? Councillor Mrs Shaw, please.
Thank you, Chairman. I've actually got not a problem with this, but I thought in other applications we've had, we didn't like flat roofs. So is this going to be acceptable? Mike Stranks? Oh, sorry.
Elise?
Generally, the design and form of the flat roof for extension at single storey, whilst they're not sympathetic to the host roof of the dwelling, in this case there are flat roofed elements included in the jettied architectural features of the dwelling, and in that regard the extension is considered harmonious. And it's also noted that there are extensions with flat roof form within the application site, and therefore it's considered appropriate.
Thank you for the clarification.
Councillor Page, did you have a question? Councillor Stanley?
Thank you, Chairman. The garage, what height was the garage again, please? How does that overlook the property next door to the garage? If you see what I can't see what the number is up there.
Thank you, Councillor Stanley. Elise?
The height of the garage extension is, let me just check that in the report, I believe it's 4.5 metres in height to the ridge, and 2.1 metres to the eaves. The dwelling next door is number 16 Hillside Avenue. The garage would be sited, if I take you to the block plan on the screen, I'll just zoom in. You can see that the garage is sited approximately 1 metre away from that side boundary, and the orientation of the dwelling number 16 has the front and rear windows, which are the primary windows, with outlook to the front and rear, so it's not considered that this would have an overbearing impact or any overlooking on that neighbour.
Elise, just a question. There's a drop curb already there and then goes into a fence. What?
Yes, the dropped curb is already there. Would you like to see the photograph?
No, I saw the drop curb there. I was just, it goes into a fence. Was there a building there previously?
Oh, apologies. I can't. I don't know if there was a building there previously, but that is actually a gateway at the point of the dropped curb. It just appears like a fence from that image.
Councillor Steptoe.
Can I just ask, what is that building about halfway along the garden, along the boundary fence there?
Elise?
That's just an outbuilding, like a garden shed, summer house type building.
Okay, Chairman, I do recall this one going back some time ago now. I do remember looking at this before. I didn't have any problems there, so I'd be more than happy to propose that we accept this.
Councillor Stanley?
Thank you, Chair. The reason I asked that of that garage, I'll put it to you, can we put an order on it that it cannot be used as a dwelling in the future? As it's such a large garden, and if that could be turned into, with an extension on it, into a one-bedroom property. So I'd like to make some sort of provision on there that it can't be used as a dwelling house. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Stanley. One moment, please, members. Elise?
I would be hesitant to recommend a condition for that. Reason being, I don't think it would be reasonable or necessary, because the change of use of the garage to a dwelling would constitute a material change of use, and that would require planning permission. And at that time, we would then consider the implications of that.
Thank you, Councillor Stanley. Right, thank you for that. I will proceed to move a motion from the chair. The planning permission, that the planning permission be approved, subject to conditions on pages 7.1 and 7.2 of the report. Could I have a seconder, please? Thank you, Councillor Page. I will proceed to the vote with a show of hands. All those in favour? That's unanimous. Thank you, members. Well, we've managed to get through that quite quickly. That